Why will I never spend Christmas with my in-laws ever again? My husband Matthew has a family that treats Christmas like a competitive sport, and the trophy is someone else's humiliation. Every year since before I existed, they've gathered at his parents' house for what they call the exchange. The rules are simple. Everyone brings gifts for everyone else. At the end of the night, the whole family votes on their personal favorite gift of the evening. The person that gets the most votes wins and gets to walk around the room and steal any single gift that was given. My mother-in-law had won 14 years in a row. Matthew told me that missing Christmas at his family's home was apparently worse than death itself. So when I started dating him, attendance became mandatory. He'd made it clear early on that if his family didn't accept me, we wouldn't survive. I walked into that house my first year holding a wrapped box and no idea what I was about to witness. I only brought one real gift that first Christmas, a rare first edition copy of Matthew's favorite novel. It was the same book his late grandfather used to read to him when he was a kid. I'd saved for 3 months to buy it. When he unwrapped it, his whole face changed. He ran his thumb across the spine and whispered, "This is perfect." I was so proud of myself. Then I noticed his mother watching from across the room. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. At the end of the night, everyone gathered in the living room for the vote. Matthew raised his hand without hesitation. "My girlfriend's gift. That's my favorite." His mother smiled tightly and said, "That's sweet." Then the final count came in, and she'd won everyone else's vote yet again. She stood up slowly, walked directly to her own son, and held out her hand. "I'll take the book." I stared at her. "Excuse me?" She looked at me and said, "The winner chooses any gift from tonight. Matthew's father says it's family tradition." Matthew handed his mother my gift without a single word of protest. Everyone else in the room exhaled with visible relief, like they'd narrowly escaped execution. I sat there watching this woman tuck my crazy expensive book under her arm, and nobody said a thing. Not her husband, not her daughter, not even her own son, the man I thought I was building a future with. I told myself it was just her being difficult, that he was caught off guard. I skipped the following year and stayed with my own parents. But the year after that, Matthew and I had gotten married. So that Christmas, Matthew insisted I had to come back. "You're family now," he said. "Just try harder this time." So I did. I spent the entire year preparing like my dignity depended on it. I kept a spreadsheet and researched everyone in the family's interests, their hobbies, their favorite colors, things they'd mentioned wanting. I made my father-in-law a custom leather journal with his initials stamped on the cover. I tracked down my mother-in-law's favorite perfume. The one she'd mentioned hadn't been available in 20 years. I hand-knitted my sister-in-law a blanket in the exact pattern their late grandmother used to make. I even had backup gifts hidden in my trunk just in case. When Christmas morning arrived, I walked into that house carrying something I'd never brought before: hope. The voting started after dinner. My father-in-law held up the journal I got him and actually smiled at me for the first time ever. This is remarkable craftsmanship. My sister-in-law had tears in her eyes as she ran her fingers across the blanket I'd made. One by one, the votes came in. I watched the tally marks on the whiteboard climb higher and higher under my name. For the first time in 15 years, someone was actually threatening the Queen of Christmas. The final count came in. My mother-in-law had 7 votes. I had 6. One single vote away from dethroning her. The room went completely silent. She set down her wine glass with a sharp clink and looked directly at me. "You know," she said, loud enough for every person in that room to hear, "it's interesting that someone who can't even give my son children has so much free time to make little arts and crafts." My hand froze on my napkin. Matthew and I had been trying to conceive for a year now. I'd had 2 miscarriages, both of which I had told her about privately, in tears, looking for comfort. She'd held my hand and told me she understood my pain. Now she was using my miscarriages as a weapon in front of 15 people because I'd almost beaten her at a Christmas game. I looked at Matthew. He was staring at his plate like it contained the secrets of the universe. I looked at his father. He cleared his throat and studied the ceiling. My sister-in-law quietly folded the blanket I'd spent 2 months knitting and set it aside like it was diseased. "She has a point," Matthew's aunt murmured from the corner of the room. "Some people do just have more time on their hands." Not one person in that room defended me. My own husband sat 3 feet away from me and never opened his mouth. Later that night, Matthew and I got into an argument about the tradition. I asked why everyone just let her do what she wanted. He told me his mother controlled the family trust. Every sibling, every spouse, every grandchild's college fund, all of it ran through her. Now the cowardice makes sense. It's not just spinelessness, it's financial survival. But I didn't want someone spineless for a husband. I filed for divorce 6 months later. Last I heard, Matthew's been trying to win his mother's game ever since I left. He's lost every single year. Apparently his mom told the family that without me there to compete against, Christmas just isn't as fun anymore.